Lucas Bretz, Alex MD Tropicals, George Farmer, Al's Vivarium, and then there are a host of new channels wholly committed to natural systems. There ain't no such thing as a father fish aquarium.
Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish.
I've been on YouTube now for 4 years. In the last 6 months, my channel has grown by 35,000 subscribers. It's gone from 15,000 to 50,000. I'm within a couple of thousand of 50. One of my very first videos was putting together all of the elements for the supplement in the deep substrate. So I've been doing this solid right along. And what it's really been based on is a natural aquarium. Did not come up with that terminology right away. A lot of things have built over the last couple of years. The food web, for example. We didn't start talking about food web until a year and a half, 2 years ago. And that included leaves. So leaves are something relatively recent. Did not really get into critiquing. Yeah, I probably did, actually. Critiquing Wallstead pretty much from day one. Didn't do it directly, but I was adding sand and adding the nutrients. So that was a change from Wallstead. And I did that based on my nearly 20 years running my shop, the Father Fish Aquarium, in which I decided to do permanent natural planted tanks for everything. All of my tanks in that shop were planted tanks. And I started by doing dirt, which I got from Wallstead. I then did supplements, which I got from Amana. I did sand. The sand was based on salt water from Garf, using sand as a cat. So I put together several different resources in order to create that environment. And then I've just basically been pushing it since then. At the time, the only person who was doing anything comparable to a natural aquarium was Lucas Bretz. And he was out there, had been for some years, pretty much on his own. I think Alex came along before I did, and Alex was promoting a natural system as well. Although in both cases, it was kind of early stage stuff. So it really wasn't being promoted as such. It took at least a year of promoting deep substrate and using sand for the gravel people to get their backs up and start contesting that system. That's the point where it really became more or less mainstream, where people began looking at it and saying, aha, this is something unique. It's a different way to be able to set up an aquarium. With the advent of the food web, that changed the whole thing kind of dramatically, because with that, what we really began doing was creating a natural native environment. There are very few large fish tubers who are doing that. MD Tropicals. MD Tropicals, his entire fish room, his magnificent, astounding, and amazing piece of art fish room studio is natural aquariums. What he refers to as natural aquariums. And what he means by that is they are stable systems that maintain themselves with a minimum of maintenance. And that's good enough for me. That works for me as well. That's where I started, and that's really, I think, the key to a natural system, is something that is able to sustain itself long term. So MD Tropicals has fully adopted natural aquariums. I mentioned Alex and Lucas. George Farmer has done some of this. George Farmer is more or less on board with natural aquariums. Now, these two guys are two of the biggest and probably the most serious technicians in maintaining systems. Their sophistication exceeds nearly everybody else, myself included. They understand high tech. They will use it in a given situation. They have come to understand the value and the power and the significance of a system that is put together that is able to function as a stable, healthy, dynamic system with, again, a minimum of intervention. Al's Vivarium, not anybody that is talked about a lot. Al's Vivarium, who does mostly vivariums, but also does natural aquariums, has 250,000 subscribers. It's a big, big channel. And then there are a host of new channels that are coming up, little channels, under 1,000, at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, that are wholly committed to natural systems. Some of them are doing it on their own hook. They're not linking up with anybody. They're not giving anybody any credit for anything. They're claiming this as their own. And frankly, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all, because it is what it is. What do you want? Go out and get some mud, put it in your tank, put some sand or whatever you got on top of it, plant some plants in it and fill it up. What is that? That's not anything anybody has a patent on. It doesn't belong to anybody. The reality is there ain't no such thing as a father fish aquarium. Now, I'll admit I've got some stuff and I'm doing some stuff that kind of sets me apart, like the supplement. I love the supplement. But here's the thing. I have a sense in which the whole notion of a natural aquarium is beginning to take hold, at least in the fish tube. And I base this on a couple of things. I base it on what I see happening as I go into fish store and identify myself, and will have the manager of the fish store say, "Oh yeah, I've had people coming in here asking about the father fish system or wanting to do a natural aquarium." Number two, Facebook. We've got a Facebook father fish channel that's, I don't know, it's in the thousands of subscribers. And that's happened very, very quickly. It's happened in a matter of just a few months. There are more people in bigger and better fights on Facebook about putting dirt in the tank. So here's the question. Is this story getting out? Is it, number one, being believed? There is very clear and very strong opposition to it. And the opposition is essentially old-timers, big YouTubers, who are used to doing things a certain way and are not willing to change because they're successful on their terms doing it that way. And that's fair. I don't see anything wrong with that. They are successful at keeping fish alive, doing what they're doing. God bless them on their way. It's not a matter of one way being better than another. It's a matter of one way being different than another. They would never claim that their aquarium is in any way natural. They might very well claim that it is impossible to do a natural aquarium. And there, I would disagree with them rather vehemently, because I know that's not true. I know that it is possible to have an aquarium that functions naturally, because every single box that has water in it is abiding by the laws of nature. So it's natural as it can get. I just try to help it get more natural. And if I can get to 80% natural, and that's the best I can do, I'm good with that. But I'm pushing that envelope all the time, trying to get it to 100%. The only way to do that is to put a pond in my backyard. And actually, I've got about a dozen of them. They're called vats. I noticed Alex has a bunch of vats in his yard. He has natural systems in them. He did a video recently describing each one of them. Can you do it in your living room? To a degree, to a large degree. 100%? Well, if you can make it rain in the tank, I suppose. Make water evaporate, replace it with rainwater. I mean, that's not all that ridiculous. That's actually pretty easy to do. And you can certainly bring biology into it. So I think, frankly, you can get pretty close. I think you can get real close. I think you can get close enough that a biologist would have a hard time telling the difference. That's how close I think you can get.